Picture a racing game with competitive time attack style racing, a Hot Wheels-like driving style, an extensive custom track creator allowing for near endless fun, and broad modding support for custom cars and more. These were the selling points that hooked me on Trackmania when I was younger. At the time, I was sinking most of my game time into either Minecraft or Forza Motorsport 4, so this arcade racer's gameplay and visuals were foreign and alluring to me. While many among the fanbase started with games like Trackmania Nations, United, Sunrise, or the original Trackmania, for me it was Valley. I remember picking it up on Steam after seeing the awesome trailer and was immediately hooked. I proceeded to sink hours upon hours playing the solo levels, creating tracks, and hopping between multiplayer lobbies, chasing that number one spot on the board. It didn't take long before I realized there were other Trackmania games, and my teenage ADHD brain was begging for more Trackmania, so I just had to get my hands on another. Fast forward just a bit, and I had saved enough money to buy myself a copy of Trackmania Canyon. And after I had shown Trackmania's wild gameplay to my friends, I even bought 2 extra copies of Canyon for my 2 best friends at the time, eager to share my experiences in what was currently one of my favorite video games. Being that they basically just got free games, it wasn't hard to get them into it, and before we knew it, they were bringing their computers over to my house every chance we got to eat junk food and play Canyon online together, with the goal, of course, of dominating any server we could. Dylan, Tyler, and I were no stranger to LAN parties and the like. We'd been doing it for years and continue to do it to this day, as the 3 of us actually live together and can do as much hood rat shit together as we want. But competing together and against each other on Trackmania just hit a little different at the time. It was an obsession. If we were hanging out together, Canyon was almost certainly involved. But enough about my personal history with Trackmania. I want to talk about the game itself. Specifically, Canyon. Trackmania 2 kicked off with the release of Canyon in September of 2011, later releasing on Steam in February of 2013. As mentioned before, Canyon followed a similar formula to previous Trackmania games by offering a fun experience racing cars on crazy courses in a time attack fashion, this time dressed in a desert canyon-like scenery. It brought back the ability to build custom tracks with even more features than before, as well as more creative freedom with car mods and other script-based elements. Each of the Trackmania 2 games had impressive graphics at the time, which honestly still hold up really well today, and with impressive optimization almost any PC could run it, including the terrible $200 laptop Dylan used back in the day. Canyon offered an easy to pick up and fun experience in its controls and gameplay, but it took patience, practice, and precision to master the driving techniques called for to play competitively. Canyon's solo campaign offered 65 high-quality courses to race on, allowing you to hone and improve your skills so you could keep moving to harder tracks and fight to set fast times for a spot on the leaderboards. This experience led to the inevitable, of course, speedrunning. Whether it was setting the best possible time on a single course, all courses in a single section, or the entire solo campaign at once, you can bet your ass there was always competition. And while technique and skill will take you far, so will finding shortcuts. Finding shortcuts in the developer-made maps, or Nadeo cuts, nicknamed after the developer, was nothing new to the Trackmania games and community, and Canyon wasn't one to stop that. While most tracks didn't have any helpful cuts, the game surely has its share of them, and with them a whole new set of skills to practice in order to be one of the fastest. Of course, if you wanted to prove you were the fastest from a more direct approach, then you could make your way to one of the many online servers run by the community. Back in the day, there were pages and pages of active servers, full of custom tracks and content to compete on in real time against other players. A lot of these servers still exist today, and there's absolutely still fun to be had, but as is the case with many games of yesteryear, most of Trackmania's online has become kind of a ghost town. For the creative players, the map editor allowed you to use your knowledge to experiment with building whatever wacky track ideas you had, and you could then race them yourself or share them online or on the Steam Workshop for others to try out. This led to countless amazing tracks, anywhere from short, fast tracks that required immense skill and precision to get that perfect run, to longer courses that called for additional patience to cleanly make it to the end. Another type of custom map still popularized by videos on YouTube, Facebook, and other platforms are the press forward maps. These were extremely intricate maps that took a lot of time and creativity to build that resulted in, as you can guess, maps where the player only needed to hold the accelerator, usually making for a visually impressive experience. A feature I never personally played with and I don't hear talked much about is the replay editor, which offered many tools to not just edit replays but create unique videos. Some personal favorites of mine are some short films done by Danny XKS, and if you're into machinima-like game animations or just cool in-game cinematography, I definitely recommend you check them out. I'll leave some links to them in the description below. Each of the Trackmania 2 games had their own specific car with unique appearances and driving characteristics to one another, Canyon's being the aptly named Canyon car, resembling a muscle car modern to its time. Of course, if you wanted a more personalized experience, you could create a custom livery for it, or you could download and use one of the thousands of custom cars from the Steam Workshop or any of the multiple Trackmania-specific mod websites, such as Mania Park. These models and skins only affected the appearance, so there wasn't any performance or hitbox change if you used a custom vehicle. Cars often ranged anywhere from real cars to fantasy cars from other games, and even weirder options. I'll put links to the custom cars and tracks that I used in this video in the description below for anyone interested. I remember Canyon fondly. It brings back memories of the hundreds of hours spent playing with my buddies pretending we were a hotshot Trackmania team, and memories of practicing to get faster and faster to improve my solo and online ranks. I don't remember well exactly when it happened, but at some point around late 2014, my friends and I stopped playing Canyon. Probably for no specific reason, we were simply getting older and playing other games or doing other things. And of course, high school meant less free time altogether, and we were gaining a heavy interest in real cars and dedicating a lot of time to that. Let's fast forward again, early 2020. For no particular reason, I decided to reinstall and launch Trackmania Canyon. Logging in and being met with the admittedly slightly different menu, nostalgia hits all the same. I started playing again, starting with AO1 and playing through every solo map with the goal of getting gold across the board. I was hooked again. Every time I set felt like it could be just a little bit faster, and a little bit faster, and faster still. Getting gold was no longer my goal, now it had become getting all of the green author medals. Online as well becomes a playground again to test my skills, racing against others on a French server that I actually recall playing on years ago. Being that the three of us live together these days, I even managed to get Tyler back into it, playing online together again. Though we haven't convinced Dylan to make a comeback just yet. I've probably added close to 50 hours in the last month to the few hundred hours of Canyon under my belt, and I have to admit I'm surprised I found myself having so much fun with the game again. At its core, it's just as I remember leaving it. An adrenaline-packed, edge-of-your-seat arcade racing game where every run feels like it could be just a little bit faster and begs you to keep playing just a little bit longer. The gameplay holds up exceptionally well for an arcade racing game nearly a decade old, as well as the graphics, which shocked me with how great they still present the game. Of course, in typical Ubisoft fashion, the game's price isn't a penny less than it was in 2013 when it launched at $20. Though honestly, it might not be a bad price for the game. As I see it now, in 2020, Trackmania Canyon is a good game. It may not have the best UI or menus, and its online community may not be as active as it once was, but it still provides plenty of fun offline and online through its memorable gameplay, impressive visuals, and access to endless fun through custom content. I still recommend this game to friends and people that haven't tried it out, and as I mentioned, I do think it's worth the $20 price tag. Whether you want a casual new arcade racing experience, something to play competitively, or you and some friends are looking for a new game to play together, Trackmania is worth keeping in mind. I have the fondest memory of Canyon, and of course it's what I've showcased here, but that isn't meant to discount the other Trackmania 2 games like Stadium, Valley, and the newer Lagoon. I'm unsure how to conclude this as I've never made a video like this before and the retrospective video essay format is pretty foreign to me, but I never hear anyone say much about Trackmania, and much less Canyon, so I felt pretty passionate about seeing this through and doing the best that I could. I don't monetize my videos and I only make videos on occasion for fun, so I won't ask you to subscribe, but if you did make it this far and enjoyed the video, it would mean a lot if you left a like and maybe shared it with someone you think might enjoy it. I had a lot of fun putting this together and I'm still enjoying my revisit to Trackmania. Anyway, if you're still listening, thank you for watching, and take care.